What if the most productive thing you could do for your garden this June was plant something once and never replace it again? Most gardeners are stuck in an expensive cycle, buying transplants every spring, starting seeds under grow lights, and filling the same gaps in the same beds year after year. But there is a smarter way to garden. Self-seeding plants do the replanting for you. Welcome. Today we are walking you through 9 of the best self-seeding plants to put in the ground this June. Plants that bloom, scatter their seeds, and return on their own season after season without you lifting a finger. Hit subscribe and let us get into it. 1. California Poppy, Eschscholzia californica. California poppy is one of the most effortless self-seeders you can grow, producing silky, cup-shaped flowers in blazing shades of orange, gold, red, and cream from late spring right through the first frosts of fall. Once you scatter the seeds once, this plant takes over its own future entirely. Eschscholzia californica is the state flower of California and is native to the Pacific coast and inland valleys of the western United States and northern Mexico, where it carpets hillsides in dense sweeps of orange every spring after winter rains. Spanish sailors navigating the coast in the 16th century called the California hills the land of fire because of the orange glow of the poppies visible from miles out at sea. The plant was used by indigenous peoples of California, including the Costanoan and Pomo tribes, as a mild sedative and painkiller, applying preparations from the roots to relieve toothaches and headaches. Spanish missionaries adopted similar uses and recorded the plant in early botanical accounts of the region. Research from the University of California has confirmed that California poppy contains alkaloids including californidine and eschscholzine with documented mild sedative and analgesic properties, validating the traditional uses recorded by indigenous peoples centuries ago. Studies have also confirmed that the plant reseeds most successfully when seeds fall directly onto bare, mineral-poor soil and experience natural winter chilling, which is why disturbed or gravelly areas produce the densest stands. Plant California poppy by surface scattering seeds in full sun and poor, well-drained soil in USDA, zones 6 through 10. June planting produces late-season flowers and the first seed drop by fall, establishing the self-seeding cycle from year 2 onward. Never transplant. It resents root disturbance completely. Simply scatter, step back, and let the winter do the stratification work. Thin seedlings to 6 inches apart in spring if they emerge too thickly, and resist the urge to fertilize. Rich soil produces leafy plants with fewer flowers. 2. Borage, Borago officinalis. Borage is the brilliant blue-flowered annual herb that self-seeds with such reliability and enthusiasm that most gardeners who grow it once never have to plant it again, producing striking star-shaped flowers of the most intense, true blue in the garden, while providing an edible harvest, a medicinal plant, and one of the most valuable pollinator plants you can grow in a single package. Borago officinalis is native to the Mediterranean basin and has been cultivated as a culinary and medicinal herb for at least 2,000 years. Ancient Romans ate the young leaves in salads and drank wine infused with borage flowers, believing it to lift courage and dispel grief. The medieval herbalist John Gerard wrote in his 1597 herbal that borage, flowers and leaves were used to comfort the heart and drive away sadness, and the plant was grown in monastery physic gardens across Europe throughout the Middle Ages. Early European settlers brought borage seeds to the American colonies in the 1600s, where it naturalized readily in disturbed ground. Research published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry has confirmed that borage seeds is one of the richest known plant sources of gamma-linolenic acid, a fatty acid with documented anti-inflammatory effects used in treating rheumatoid arthritis and skin conditions including eczema. Studies have also documented that borage flowers are among the most frequently visited by honeybees and bumblebees of any common garden plant, with nectar replenishment rates so fast that bees return to individual flowers within minutes of a previous visit. Plant borage in full sun to parched shade and well-drained average soil in Uzda zones 2 through 11, where it grows as a self-seeding annual returning reliably each season. June planting establishes flowering plants by midsummer. Allow seed heads to dry and drop naturally. Seedlings appear in fall and spring and are easy to identify by their bristly grey-green leaves. The flowers are edible and beautiful, frozen into ice cubes for summer drinks. 3. Red Orach, Atriplex hortensis rubra. Red orach is the tall, spectacularly coloured self-seeder that fills the back of kitchen and ornamental borders alike with deep burgundy red foliage from spring through summer, produces masses of ornamental till seed heads by midsummer, and drops thousands of seeds that return reliably each season, giving you a permanent feature that doubles as a striking edible plant with a history stretching back to ancient cultivation. Atriplex hortensis is native to Central Asia and Siberia and has been cultivated as a leaf vegetable since ancient times, predating spinach as a green in European gardens. It was a dietary staple across much of Europe and Central Asia through the medieval period, grown in monastery kitchen gardens and listed in the court inventories of Charlemagne as one of the required plants in his royal gardens. The red-leafed form became popular in European ornamental kitchen gardens during the Renaissance for its dramatic colour and architectural presence. It naturalized in disturbed areas across North America after colonial-era introduction. Research published in food science journals has confirmed that red orach leaves contain significant concentrations of beta-cyanin pigments responsible for the deep red colour, compounds with documented antioxidant properties similar to those found in red beets and beetroot. Studies have also confirmed that orach tolerates saline and alkaline soils far better than most vegetables, making it a valuable crop in difficult conditions where spinach and chard fail. Plant red orach by direct sowing in full sun and well-drained average soil in Uzda zones 4 through 9. June sowing produces plants by late summer that self-seed freely before the first frost. Allow seed heads to shatter naturally. Remove excess seedlings in spring, as orach can produce dozens of offspring per plant. Harvest young leaves at any point through the season as a spinach substitute. The plants reach 5 to 6 feet tall and make a dramatic garden backdrop. 4. Dame's Rocket, Hesperis matronalis. Dame's Rocket is the tall, fragrant, cottage garden self-seeder that fills garden borders in late spring with large clusters of 4-petaled flowers in purple, lilac, and white, releasing an extraordinary perfume in the evening that carries far across the garden, and dropping seeds that return in spreading drifts each season with no effort from the gardener. Hesperis matronalis is native to southern Europe and Western Asia and has been cultivated in European gardens since at least the 16th century. The Latin species name matronalis means of or for married women, referring to its association with festivals honouring Juno in ancient Rome. John Gerard included it in his 1597 herbal as one of the most valuable fragrant garden plants, and it became a defining plant of English cottage gardens through the 17th and 18th centuries. Colonial settlers brought it to North America, where it naturalized extensively along roadsides and woodland edges, particularly in the northeastern United States and Canada. Research has confirmed that Dame's Rocket is frequently and mistakenly sold as phlox in the commercial seed trade because of visual similarities, a documented source of consumer confusion that can be resolved by counting petals. Dame's Rocket has 4 petals, while phlox has 5. Studies of its fragrance chemistry have identified the primary volatile compounds as phenyl ethyl alcohol and farnesol, compounds also found in rose and lily of the valley fragrance, which explains the complex sweetness of the evening scent. Plant Dame's rocket in part shade to full sun and moist, well-rained soil in ooster zones 3 through 8. June planting establishes first-year rosettes that overwinter and bloom the following May. Allow seed pods to mature and split naturally in July and August. Plants spread enthusiastically in cool, moist climates and should be thinned in spring. Place near pathways and seating areas to capture the evening fragrance. Note that Dame's rocket is considered invasive in some Midwestern states and should not be planted near natural woodland areas in those regions. 5. Nigella damascena. Nigella, also known as love in a mist, is one of the most architecturally beautiful self-seeders in the garden, producing delicate blue, white, and pink flowers surrounded by a feathery cage of finely cut bracts, followed by dramatic inflated seed pods that are as ornamental as the flowers themselves, and scattering seeds so freely that a single planting establishes a permanent colony that fills gaps throughout the garden each season. Nigella damascena is native to southern Europe and North Africa and has been grown in European gardens since the 16th century. The name Damascena refers to Damascus, Syria, reflecting its presence along ancient trade routes through the Middle East, though the related species Nigella sativa, black cumin, has been cultivated as a spice and medicinal plant in the Middle East and South Asia for over 3,000 years. Seeds of Nigella sativa were found in the tomb of Tutankhamun in Egypt, excavated in 1922, indicating its importance in ancient Egyptian culture and medicine. The ornamental species reached English cottage gardens by the 1600s and has been a garden staple ever since. Research published in the Asian Pacific Journal of Tropical Biomedicine has documented that Nigella sativa seeds contain thymoquinone, a compound with significant anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antioxidant properties, confirming the centuries of traditional medicinal use across the Islamic world, where the black seed is considered one of the most universally therapeutic plants in the tradition. While the ornamental Nigella damascena has not been researched to the same depth, studies confirm that both species share similar volatile oil compositions. Plant Nigella by surface scattering seeds in full sun and well-drained average soil in Usisda, zones 2 through 11 as a self-seeding annual. June planted Nigella blooms by late summer and drops seeds through fall and early winter. Do not deadhead. Allow the ornamental seed pods to stand as long as possible before they split, as they are valuable in dried flower arrangements. Successive small sowings in spring extend the bloom season. Once established, Nigella appears throughout the garden in unexpected corners and cracks. 6. Sweet Sicily, Myris odorata. Sweet Sicily is the elegant, shade-tolerant self-seeder that most gardeners have never discovered, producing clouds of delicate white flowers on tall ferny stems in late spring, large ornamental seeds with a distinctive anise fragrance and feathery aromatic foliage that serves as one of the most useful culinary herbs in the garden while naturalizing steadily into permanent woodland garden colonies. Myris odorata is native to mountain regions of Central and Southern Europe, growing wild in subalpine meadows across the Alps, Pyrenees, and Apennines. It has been cultivated as a culinary and medicinal herb in European cottage gardens since at least the medieval period, valued both for the anise-flavoured leaves that reduce the need for added sugar when cooking tart fruits, and for the medicinal properties of the roots and seeds. The plant was a common feature of English cottage and monastery gardens through the 17th and 18th centuries. In northern England and Scotland, it was traditional to polish furniture with the fragrant seeds, giving it the local name, the furniture herb. Research has confirmed that all parts of Sweet Sicily contain anethole, and other volatile compounds responsible for the anise flavor. The same compound that gives anise seed, fennel, and tarragon their characteristic taste. Studies have also documented that the plant is one of very few ornamental herbs that thrives in dry shade, filling the difficult garden niche under established trees where most plants struggle. The young seeds are edible with a strong anise licorice flavor and can be used in baking and confectionery. Plant sweet sicely in part shade to full shade and moist, well-drained soil in Uzdar, zones 3 through 7. June planting allows root establishment before winter. Fresh seeds sown immediately after harvesting in summer germinate most reliably, as the seeds lose viability quickly. Self-seeded seedlings appear in spring, and the colony expands gradually over years. The plant goes dormant in summer heat and reappears in fall. An ideal solution for dry shade under trees where almost nothing else will grow. 7. Phacelia. Phacelia tanastitifolia. Phacelia is the extraordinary violet-blue flowering annual that self-seeds with remarkable reliability, producing dense clusters of intensely coloured flowers that attract more bees per square foot than nearly any other plant in the garden, improving pollination for every surrounding crop and ornamental plant, while building soil quality through its decomposing leaves and re-establishing itself from dropped seeds season after season without any input. Phacelia tanacitifolia is native to California and northern Mexico, where it grows in open, disturbed, and scrubby habitats across the coastal ranges and Central Valley. It was introduced to European agriculture in the early 20th century initially as a green manure and cover crop, prized for its rapid growth, nitrogen-fixing soil benefits, and its extraordinary value to pollinators. German and British beekeepers promoted it heavily as a honey plant by the 1930s, noting that hives positioned near Phacelia fields produced dramatically higher yields. It naturalized in parts of Europe after widespread agricultural sowing. Research from multiple European agricultural institutes, including Rothamsted Research in the United Kingdom, has confirmed that Phacelia flowers produce more nectar per unit area than virtually any other commonly grown plant, with documented visits from over 30 bee species and attraction rates in side-by-side studies exceeding borage, lavender, and clover. Studies have also confirmed that Phacelia CL makes one of the most effective green manures available, suppressing weeds and adding organic matter rapidly when dug in before flowering. Plant Phacelia by direct sowing in full sun and well-drained average soil in Uzdar, zones 3 through 10 as a self-seeding annual. June sowing produces flowering plants by midsummer that drop seeds through late summer and fall for the following season. The seeds require light for germination, so surface sow without covering. Allow most plants to seed before removing spent growth. Use Phacelia as a living mulch between vegetable rows, as a cut flower, or as a dedicated pollinator strip at the garden boundary. 8. Honesty, Lunaria annua. Honesty, also called money plant or silver dollar plant, is the classic cottage garden biennial that returns year after year entirely from self-seeding, producing upright spikes of purple and white flowers in spring, followed by the distinctive translucent silver seeds that are among the most beautiful and useful dried plant material in the world, decorating gardens and homes through winter while quietly scattering seeds for the following season. Lunaria annua is native to southwestern Asia and the Balkans, and has been cultivated in European gardens since the 16th century. The genus name Lunaria comes from the Latin word for moon, referencing the round, moon-like appearance of the papery seed pods. John Parkinson described it in his 1629 Paradisus terrestris as one of the finest plants for winter ornamentation, noting that the translucents glowed like silver coins in candlelight. Early settlers brought it to North American gardens where it naturalized in shaded and disturbed areas throughout the northeastern states and Pacific Northwest. In Japan, the plant became culturally significant during the Edo period as an emblem of financial luck, explaining its popular name money plant. Research has confirmed that Lunaria annua seeds contain erucic acid and glucosinates, compounds under investigation for industrial applications, as the seeds contain a higher concentration of erucic acid than almost any other known plant species. Studies of the plant's pollinator value have documented significant visits from long-tongued bumblebees and the orange-tip butterfly, whose larvae feed exclusively on the leaves and seed pods of plants in the Brassica family, to which honesty belongs. Plant honesty in parched shade to full sun and well-drained humus-rich soil in USDA zones 4 through 8. June planting establishes first-year rosettes that overwinter and bloom the following April and May, dropping seeds by June of year 2. Allow pods to ripen fully on the plant before the outer skin weathers away to reveal the silver inner membrane. The colony spreads gently but reliably, appearing each year in the dappled shade at the base of walls and hedges where conditions suit it best. 9. Anise hyssop, Agastache funiculum. Anise hyssop is the tall, powerfully fragrant native perennial that self-seeds freely in warm, well-drained conditions, producing long spikes of deep violet-blue flowers from midsummer through fall that attract monarch butterflies, hummingbirds, and native bees in exceptional numbers, while providing one of the most useful and flavorful medicinal teas in the herb garden from leaves with a strong sweet anise and mint fragrance. Agastache funiculum is native to the north-central prairies of North America, growing wild from Wisconsin and Minnesota west through the Dakotas and Manitoba. Native American peoples, including the Chippewa and Cree, used it extensively as a medicinal plant, making infusions from the leaves to treat colds, fevers, and heart weakness, and burning the dried plant as a ceremonial smudge. Early French-Canadian settlers adopted the plant as a tea herb and digestive remedy, and it was recorded in botanical inventories of the upper Midwest from the early 1800s. The plant became popular in American herb gardens through the 20th century and transformed into a key plant of the new prairie garden movement in the 1990s. Research published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology has confirmed that anise hyssop leaves contain methylchavicle and anethol as primary active volatile compounds with documented antimicrobial, antifungal, and antioxidant properties, supporting the traditional medicinal uses recorded by multiple indigenous peoples. Studies by the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation have documented anise hyssop as one of the top 10 most valuable native plants for supporting native bee populations in the upper Midwest, particularly for bumblebees, sweat bees, and specialist pollen collectors. Plant anise hyssop in full sun and well-drained average soil in USDA zones 4 through 9. June plantings lets the plants establish and begin blooming their first season, dropping seeds by late fall. Leave the seed spikes standing through winter as small birds, particularly goldfinches and chickadees, harvest seeds through the coldest months. Seedlings appear in spring and should be thinned to 18 inches apart. The fragrant leaves make an outstanding fertilizer, fresh or dried, with a flavour reminiscent of licorice tea mixed with spearmint. Once established, a patch of anise hyssop expands slowly and reliably for years, and there you have it, 9 self-seeding plants that make your garden smarter every single year. From the blazing colour of California poppy to the extraordinary pollinator power of Phacelia, from the medieval fragrance of Dame's rocket to the culinary versatility of red orach, every one of these plants works harder than you do. Plant them once in June, let them do what nature designed them to do, and your garden pays you back in flowers, seasoned wildlife, season after season, without you spending another cent or another hour on replanting. If this helped you, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Drop a comment below and tell us which of these 9 you are putting in the ground this June. We will see you in the next one.